Hey everyone, Stephen Rodriguez, Superintendent for the Pottstown School District, coming to you. It's noontime on Friday, but we're recording this. I'm going to send it out via email to our parents, but wanted the community to know as well. And I know that a lot of parents access Facebook and follow us there, so that's great. Thank you so much for doing so. Want to take a couple of minutes and walk you through the results of the parent survey. So for those of you who took time to let us know how you're feeling, really appreciate it. And let me just say that in the midst of this pandemic, we've all learned to be very flexible. So things are changing all the time. We're getting new information all the time, and we're doing our best to be balanced between giving our students what they need and giving families enough time to adjust. So without further delay, we are going to go through the results, and I'm going to just give you a little bit of my commentary, but for the most part, the results are going to speak for themselves. So we had 585 participants, which is lower than our participation rate back in the summer. But we'll tell you, everything that we can about this. So the first question was virtual education model on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being very good and 1 being not so good or terrible. Where would you rate your satisfaction with our current virtual education program? And you know what? Thank you everyone for your honest opinions here. I'm very pleased with these results. 24, almost 25% of parents said, hey, A+. Good work. Another 30% gave it a solid B. 29% said, I kind of like it. I'm not sure how much I like it, or at least I can live with it. And 7.4% plus 8.5, or a little under 20%, said, I really do not like this. So there were a lot of comments. I'm not going to go through them here, but I will let you know that we have read them and really thought about them. There were comments on both sides. I really like this. I don't want to come into an in-person environment right now and get my kids in school. Why are you guys taking so long? So we've heard it all, truly, and thank you for those comments. Next question, are you satisfied with the technology and software? We doubled down on Google Classroom and a couple other things. There's lots of teachers using Nearpod and a few other type programs. And, you can see here 12% have no opinion. 11% say I didn't like it very much. 75% said, yeah, we like it. How often do you have one-on-one discussions or other personal communication with your child's teacher? As you can see, the vast majority say we communicate as needed. 17% say we communicate regularly. And let's see, what does this say? 7% say we don't communicate enough. So we certainly hear that and want to do our very best to accommodate everyone's need. Attendance. As you can see here, as you can see here, 79.1% of all parents say, hey, we go every single day. Another 12% say most of the time, and a couple others are saying, some of the time or none of the time. And I'm not sure what the reasons are there, but it's good to know that the vast majority are going. That's positive. Food security. Are you satisfied with the type of food you are receiving? As you can see here, almost half said this doesn't really apply to me. So if you look at the other couple of halves, the bigger portion of people would say, yes, I'm satisfied. But then there's definitely a sizable portion that say, no, I'm not satisfied. So just so that everyone understands, we are, it's not our staff preparing the food. It's our staff mainly delivering the food. We are working with a vendor to try and make it so that it's easy and convenient. And we do recognize that there are limitations. I will tell you that we have chosen the very best that we can, and we're not worried about price. We did our very best within the confines of U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is what our food service program is guided by. Are you satisfied with the pickup times? Half the people said this doesn't apply to me. But in terms of Monday, 7A to 7P, vast majority of people who participate in that say yes. A couple of people said, no, that doesn't work for me. But just as a reminder, you can get your food delivered to your home. Now, you do have to have some level of availability so that people don't take it off your porch, or so that the food doesn't spoil, although now that it's colder, that's probably a little bit less of an issue, but still an issue. So again, most people are saying, this doesn't really apply to me. But for the ones who say it does apply, the vast majority say, yeah, we like it. And of course, there were 10 people who said, no, don't like it very much. So we understand that. Are you utilizing other resources? And what we wanted to know here is, is it that somebody in town is doing a better job than us? Maybe we can learn from them. But a bunch of people said this doesn't apply to me. A lot of people said no. 55 people, or 9.4%, said yes, we're getting it from other sources. So would you describe your household as needing or wanting food? Again, you can see here a bunch of people said this doesn't apply to me. Some people said no, we don't need it. And 237 people did say yes, we need this. So we're happy to provide it. And again, we got lots of comment with regard to needing support, etc. But I won't go through that for sake of time. Now we'll talk about elementary related arts. And elementary parents, I want you to know that we heard you and we are going to be taking action on this. So these are the results. Related arts: library, art, music, gym, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being very high and 1 being very low. Where would you rate your satisfaction with the current asynchronous, in other words, do it on your own, it's not live instruction, do it on your own, elementary related arts program? There's a bunch of people who said this doesn't apply to me, so you kind of have to take that out of the equation. But you'll see here, 64 people said, hey, rock on, we really like it, it's good stuff. Another 75 said solid B or B plus, we like it. But 132 people said, I'm kind of neutral on this. 46 people said, I'm not liking it. And another 47 said, I really don't like it. So please choose the option that best describes you. Again, we're talking about only elementary and only related arts, since we have heard about that. That's why we're asking here. Please choose the option that best describes you and your students. As you can see here, 22% said related arts classes are great, don't change anything, keep going. Another 28% said these should be voluntary. 11.3% said we don't have time. And of course, as you can see, there's a good number of people, 218, that said this doesn't apply to me. So we've heard that, and I want you to know that the plan is we are going to slow down a little bit. We said from the beginning that reading and math has to be our priority. So our plan for second quarter is to have less assignments. And those assignments are going to be voluntary. So for those who want it, and for these 134 people, we're still going to have something for you. Won't be quite as much, but we're going to have something for you. But it's going to be voluntary, and we appreciate your feedback. So how important is face-to-face communication for you learning virtually? Hey, it's clear you like the synchronous, the face-to-face interaction. So that's really good to hear. How often does your son or daughter talk to classmates outside of school? And just so you know, I'm not even sure what this tells us, but what we were hoping to find is, where are our students in terms of social and emotional learning and interacting and mental health, etc. So I'm, again, not sure what this tells us, but 57% or 333 parents say, hey, they're not talking that often, which tells me that maybe they're being safe. I know I've heard, well, these kids are getting together and whatnot, but maybe not, according to the survey. 133 people say, they're getting together sometimes. 80 are saying often, and 36 are saying very often. So we're taking that and just kind of processing it. Okay, so this is the 9th week in a new educational model. How do you feel overall about the virtual education program? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, I'm really grateful. I shared with our staff, they are rock stars. They've been doing very, very well in a new and difficult and stressful situation for everyone. 18%, almost 20% said A plus. Another 35% said solid B. 23% said, I could take it or leave it. Maybe it's more like a C. And then about, as you can see here, 10 plus 11, so about 22% said, man, this is not for me. So again, we understand that these are difficult times, but thank you very much for your opinion. It tells us that, you know, we are doing some things right, and we're going to keep doing that, and we're going to do our very best to step it up as much as we can. How much time do you spend, just watching my time here, how much time do you spend each day on average in virtual learning? Almost 50% of people said somewhere between 3 and 5 hours. Another 24% said 5 to 7 hours. This is one that's concerning a little bit. 1 to 3 hours is probably too little. So 17%, they're not spending as much time as we'd like them to. And then there were some other comments here. So next question, how stressful is virtual learning? I was fully expecting the number to be, hey, very highly stressful. And we did see here 35% said it's highly stressful. About 20% said pretty stressful. 23 gave it a, you know, a C average, like sometimes it's stressful, sometimes it's not. And 20% said not that bad. How helpful are your child's teachers while learning online? This, again, I thanked our staff when I shared these results with them a couple days ago. Look at that, 51% say A plus, or at least solid A. So thank you, teachers, for all that you've done to make this process work. And thank you, parents, for giving them that recognition. 27% said solid B. Another 16% gave it a kind of a middle grade, and then there were some who did not like it, and we appreciate that. Assuming appropriate safety measures are in place, how comfortable are you to return to in-person class? Now, let me just say from the get-go, you know, we've been watching the news, and you know, the comment was made, hey, you know, this could shift very easily, because, you know, if we're seeing a COVID-19 spike, which it seems like maybe we are, as the weather has changed and whatnot, maybe people wouldn't be so comfortable. So we get the fact that this might have a timestamp on it, but I'm still sharing the results with you, and recognizing that, you know, COVID may be with us for a long time. So we're not making any decisions at this point. We're sharing information. And on this question, 41% said, hey, we're very comfortable. If the appropriate measures are in place, we're very comfortable. Another 12% said, we're pretty comfortable. 17% said, we're not terribly comfortable, but comfortable enough. And then you've got 30% here who are saying, I'm not so comfortable. I'm not so sure that I'm going to be staying home. So I just want to reassure people, especially in this category. And I'll tell you that you know, my wife is a nurse, and this stuff really does make her nervous. She's a mom before she's a nurse. So for those of you who say, listen, while you guys work all this stuff out, I just want you to know we are always going to have a virtual option. We'll always have the Val Academy, which is very independent, and it was meant to be that way. It's not the same as the synchronous program that we have, but our virtual program that we have now, our intention is that we're going to have that for the rest of the year. To some degree, it might change, but that's going to be available for parents. So for those 30% of parents, I want you to know we're thinking about you, and we want to make sure that you're comfortable and that your students can keep making progress. How engaged is your child in online learning? Hey, this is really great news. Obviously, we want the number to be 100%, but you know, we've got 29% that are highly engaged, another 26% that are very engaged, and 23% that are pretty engaged. And again, very concerned about this 20% or so that are saying they're not engaged. We are paying attention to that. How confident are you that your child is making sufficient academic progress? Now, I understand that, you know, I think parents are the experts in their children. I tell educators, we're the experts in content and in education, but parents are the experts in their children. So we can see a nice bell curve going on here, which I think is pretty predictable. So parents are saying that from their perspective, you know, a decent amount are making progress. Some are, you know, not so sure that would be, you know, right here. And then others are saying, my kid is not making progress. And we do understand that. How confident are you about your child's social, emotional well-being during the pandemic? big surprise here. And some of this is going, as I'm reading some of the literature that is coming out of education in a pandemic era, this is making sense where maybe some of the social media, some of the interactions that, you know, kids can, let's just be honest and say the truth. Sometimes they can be really vicious toward one another. Now we've got a little bit more parent time. So we're not seeing the huge mental health stress that we maybe thought we were gonna. That's not to downplay the mental health stress that we are having, because we are having some mental health stress, and I acknowledge that, and I'm worried about that. But I'm pleased to see that we also have some positive results there. How concerned are you about your child's peer relationships? And again, this is a very healthy number, kind of what I would expect. Most of us are somewhat concerned. Some of us are not concerned at all, and others are very concerned. In the past month, how often has your child spoken with their teachers or adults at their school? And again, the vast majority here are saying, yes, our kids are talking to the teachers. You know, this obviously is of concern. We want to do better than that. We need parents' help in making sure that we can speak with students and give them what they need. So at this point, we're going to start talking about hybrid. And I see, okay, I'm about halfway done, and I'm at about 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to move through this, but I just need to say a couple of things. Number one, as you can see, we wanted to know who's responding. Is it mainly high school parents? Is it mainly elementary school parents, etc.? So that's what this question tells us. 39% of those who participated in this survey are elementary parents. So we know we've got, and that makes sense because they're the youngest, and they can't deal, maybe a 17-year-old can be much more independent than an elementary student can. So another 14% are middle school. An identical 14% are high school. 14% are elementary and middle school. And then some of these smaller slivers, elementary and high school is almost 5%. Middle and high school, 8%, 8.5%. And then the parents who have elementary and middle and high school is 4.3%. So we really thank you all. It's 585, as you can see. Thank you so much for responding. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to talk about the different hybrid models. So if we went to a hybrid, again, the decision isn't mine. It's the school boards. The pandemic task force is meeting as per the provisions of PDE and the legislature. So we're moving in that direction. November 19th is when we hope to have some level of decision. Again, it's all based on the data that is coming out at the time. But if we move toward a hybrid, what would that look for? So what I would say is think about the total numbers here. The bar graphs aren't going to mean that much because it's question by question. And also remember that we said choose all that would work for you. So, you know, in this case, it's not a matter of, because we heard from parents the last time, well, you made us choose. You know, and if you hadn't have made us choose, I would have chosen a couple of things, like first this and then that. So that's what we did this time. We heard that loud and clear and said, you know what, that makes sense. I wish someone had told us to begin with, but you know, we went from other models and other school districts who had done it beforehand. But this time we changed it to say, choose all that apply so that we can see where the winners are. So with that explanation, in-person, hybrid, alternating Wednesday, synchronous. So what that means, just to give you an idea, that would mean that a student would go in person 2 days a week. Could be a Monday, Tuesday, or a Monday, Thursday, whatever the case may be. It's 2 days a week. But then every other Wednesday, they would also go in because there's 5 days of the week. So there's no way to make that even. So 57 people said yes to that option. Now, the next option was week to week. So 5 days you go to school, 5 days you're virtual. 71% said, or 71 rather, said that would be the best. And I believe that is the winner in all of the elementary areas that we tested. In-person hybrid 2 days a week. So what that would mean is I'd go to school Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would be virtual. And maybe you would go to school Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would be virtual. We'd all be virtual on Wednesday. 63 said yes to that. So that I think is second place. In-person hybrid, 2 days a week, and then 1 day asynchronous, like you do all your assignments by yourself. That was the least popular in all of our, except maybe one category. That was the least popular in all of our parent surveys. So for elementary only, what about AM, PM? That was 57. And remaining virtual was 84. And as you can see, that is the highest number. So some might say, oh my gosh, that means that we're going to remain virtual all year. Not necessarily. Again, we said all that apply. So we do recognize that the previous question talked about some comfort level with being in person to some degree. So again, I don't know what that means, and I'm not sure what the board will decide, but this is the data. And you know, we did ask parents to say, you know, choose all that would work for your family. So we do see that 84 said that would work. Now let's move to middle school. You'll see very similar results. I'm going to go a little faster. Alternating Wednesdays, 2 days a week plus every other Wednesday I go into school. 23 said that would work for me. Week to week, only 20 said that that would work for them. In person, 2 days a week, 1 day would be synchronous, like Wednesday, no one would come in. That would be 32. I think that was the most popular option there. The asynchronous, 1 day a week, just do work on your own. That was the least popular there. And then again, you can see here 34 were comfortable with the virtual option. Now, high school only parents. Again, I'm in 2 days a week plus every other Wednesday. That was 19. I think a lot of people thought maybe that was too confusing. Week to week. So I'm in 5 days a week. And then the next week I'm not in, I'm virtual. And that would be a synchronous option, 21. 2 days a week, every Wednesday would be virtual, 25. I believe that's the winner of the high school crowd. 2 days a week, asynchronous, 13. And virtual 36. So now you've got kind of the format of what this looks like. I'm going to go a little bit quicker through some of the smaller subgroups. So elementary and middle school parents, 17 said every other Wednesday in a synchronous model. 29 said week to week. So again, winner there. 27 said 2 days a week, but Wednesday everybody stays home and is virtual. And then the asynchronous 16, again, least favorite option. And AM, PM, 21 total, and remaining virtual, 32. So elementary and high school, this would be, you know, I've got kids in elementary, plus I've got some older kids. Alternating Wednesdays plus 2 days a week, only 4 said yes to that. Week to week, 9 said yes to that. That makes sense. If our elementary folks really like week to week, then I'd want that for my high schooler as well, so they could stay on the same schedule. 2 days a week with 1 day being virtual, but 2 days we come in, that would be 7. And then 2 days a week with asynchronous work, again, not so popular with 2. Elementary only, AM, PM would be 5, and then remaining virtual would be 9. So middle and high school students, older students only, 13 would say alternating Wednesdays plus 2 days a week. 11 would say every other week. 22, that's the big winner. 2 days a week. Put me in 2 days a week. Everybody on Wednesday is virtual. And then two days a week, I stay home. And then in-person asynchronous, 8. Again, not terribly popular there. And then remaining virtual, 13. So now, last category, I've got elementary school students, I've got middle school students, and I've got high school students. Up until last year, that's where I was personally. I have 4 kids, so they were all over the place. So option number 1, come in 2 days a week. Wednesday is alternating. Only 2 of our parents like that option. This is a smaller group though. Week to week, that would be 7. Whoop, sorry about that. There we go. Okay, that would be 7. Then 2 days a week synchronous, also 7. That would be with the Wednesday being virtual. 2 days a week asynchronous, 7. And then elementary only would be AM, PM. That would be 4. Preferred that. And then remaining virtual would be 13. So there you go. Those are the results, the full results, minus some of the comments of the survey. Thank you so much for participating. This has already been shared with our staff. It's now been shared with you. It's been shared with the board and our task force. We will continue to work on options. And again, really appreciate your continued support. We will give you more information as we have it. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.